Hey friends! All right, we're going to do another little painting. And I mean, it's spring, so I'm just in a springtime mood. And this one is rather simple to do, very simple shapes that we're going to draw in order to create this. So, pardon me. Well, spring comes allergies. So even your youngest student is going to be able to do this rather simply. And of course, parents, if they do struggle, you are able to help them and work with them so that they can then paint it later if that's what needs to happen. And yes, parents, you can draw. We would love you to draw with us. It's usually the adults that I always have saying, I don't know how to draw. I can't even draw a straight line. Guess what? I can't draw a straight line either. I need a ruler for that. Um, and art is not about straight lines and drawing straight. It is about just drawing your stuff in your way and having fun with it. Stop thinking about straight lines and stick people, and it's not what we want to draw today. Because in fact, we want to draw a ladybug. Isn't she cute? Or he, however you want to do it. The ladybugs are starting to come out everywhere. And quite frankly, it's another little insect that I don't mind. I think they're rather adorable. And we're going to create our little ladybug using some very, very simple shapes and lines that even your youngest child might be able to recognize. And I did create this using a black Sharpie marker and some very simple watercolor paints. Now, I mean, of course, with anything, if you see something that I'm doing and you feel like you don't have the materials to recreate it, please feel free to just, grab your pencils, grab your crayons, and just color away with us. Don't let the fact that I'm doing something in a watercolor paint or painting it with marker or coloring with marker, don't let that stop you. Please just color along with whatever you have, because as long as you are creating art, that's all that matters. That's all we want to do. We just want to create. But I like being able to give us different options, especially if I do have a student at home that does have something else. So this is my little ladybug. And if we take a look, we do notice that we do have a semi-straight line. Not fully straight. I did not use a ruler. And we've got a couple curved lines. So she's almost shaped like a little big bell here that's going to create her ladybug shell. And then another one that mirrors it on the inside to create the head. Two big circle eyes, and then two smaller ones to create her pupils. She's got a little smile, and I gave her some half circles for some cheeks. I decided to give her some little cheeks, just to kind of punch up the face. And then some little semicircles on the inside to create the dots. We did the dots a little different. We didn't just do big old black polka dots everywhere. We've got our little feet on each side, and then we did paint a background. I did, of course, do mine with a black Sharpie because I love my Sharpies. But if you don't have a Sharpie, as always, feel free to just use a black crayon. That's going to be the best thing in working with our watercolors because our black crayon will not transfer. You do not want to use a watercolor marker or Crayola washable marker because that will start bleeding as you do your watercolor paints. That will not work out for you very well. So if you have a black Sharpie or permanent marker or a black crayon to draw your design and make it darker, that's going to work best for you. I do have a messy mat to help me as I'm painting because I will be painting very close to the edge. And I don't want to get it on the table, even though watercolors does clean up very, very, very easily. So parents, if it does get on the table, don't fret. It will wash off. If it does get on their clothing, I mean, that washes off very easy as well. Now, as far as paints, you can use the watercolors. Again, if you don't have them, feel free to color. But the one thing I remembered, and I should have remembered this rather quickly, if you are a student of mine, if you attend my elementary school, our school had a company donate so many books to us. It was insane, and it was amazing, and it was wonderful. And a lot of them were craft books that had crayons, and some of them had watercolor sets attached to them. Some of them, my daughter ended up with this Tinkerbell book. So hers was Tinkerbell, and it had the watercolor paints. I know the boys had a different book, and I can't recall what it was because I don't have a little boy at home. But they had watercolor paints attached to them. So any of my students, if you can find your little watercolor book, you can start painting along with Mrs. Mims. You need to remember where that book is that you got from the school. And some of the kids, we sent home a couple of these books. So you should have a couple of paints. So if you have a book like this, or any other student at home, if you've got any kind of crafting book, or if any of your relatives have given you any kind of paint sets, check and see if you've got any kind of watercolors. And you might be able to paint along with us as well. Now would be a good time to get out those old Christmas sets and start working with us. So I'm not going to touch that since that is my daughter's, and Mommy does have her own paints. So what I'm going to do to create my little ladybug is I'm going to start with my straight-ish line, and it's close to the bottom of the page because I need a lot of room for my big body, her little shell, I guess, as it were. And I'm just going to create this great big curved bell-like shape. And there it is. And then another smaller bell-like shape inside the body for her face. And then once I've got these two little shapes that mirror each other, it almost looks like I have an incomplete rainbow, doesn't it? I'm going to draw some eyes, ovular in shape, circular in shape, however your wonderful little heart wants to do it and create. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And then I'll color them in. Again, if you don't have Sharpie, you can be doing this in crayon. It's great. And then I'll give her a little smile because it's spring. The ladybugs are back and the ladybugs are happy. And then for the cheeks, I just gave a little curved line on each side. So she was happy. Those are her cheeks. We're going to paint those a cute little blush pink color. And since watercolors don't often have blush pink, it's going to be a light red. I'm going to give her some nice swirly antennas. And for her spots, again, I didn't do just the traditional big circles. We wanted her to look a little different from what we normally see. So I'm just drawing half circles, just wherever I want. And I fit on there about 5, just wherever you fit. Everyone draws a little different. And ladybugs have got 6 feet, I believe. So I just started from one side and I just kind of went across until I ran out of room. So teeny tiny little feet. And I gave her, so it looks like she almost has little shoes on. I gave her these little bubble feet. And then on the other side I switched the direction. Ta-da! Now, I didn't draw the grass for her to stand on. I just went ahead and painted that as I was going. So, if you feel so inclined, you can give her her horizon line and make her sit on her grass. But we can just paint that as well. So, now we're ready to paint. I've got my paints, my watercolors. I have little liquid watercolors in tubes. So that's why mine looks a little bit different. If you have those, great. If not, they're going to work the same as any watercolor you have. Got a little cup of water and a brush and a paper towel so you can clean your brush. It's important to do. So remember, watercolors only work when your brush is wet. Gather, make sure I'm clean. Get your brush wet. And, we can start with whatever color we want to. Let's start with the face. I did mine yellow because it's bright and it's sunny. We're going to have, green and blue in other areas. But if you want the face to be a different color, go for it. if you want orange or purple or I don't, brown, whatever. Paint your face whatever color you want to, because really the ladybug, the rest of the picture is already kind of predetermined. So do the face whatever color you want. I am sticking with yellow because it's nice and bright and it's very happy. And so we just kind of tap into the watercolor. Watercolors are supposed to look very, very light and opaque in nature. They should not look thick. They should not look plasticky is what I tell the kids. Inside the tray, they look very plasticky and shiny. And if it looks that way on your paper, you are not using enough water. So, and I'm just going to kind of start spreading it out. And I'm starting with the face. So they're very light, almost see-through, hence opaque, until I get her little face done. And of course, as you run out of paint, I always get my kids in the habit of dipping back in the water, because they don't. They go kind of back in the paint. And you may have enough water on your brush to go back into the paint, but once my kids get in the habit of, oh, paint, 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 that's when we start getting all that plasticky looking paint on the paper, and then they really wonder why. So I get them in the habit of every time you need paint, dip back in the water. So once you get your face done, that doesn't take very long. There's not much of a face there. And we're using, well, your brush may not be as big as mine. Thanks. I guess I should have mentioned that. My bad. Clean your brush. Wipe it on your paper towel. If there's no color left on your paper towel, your brush is clean. And then dip back in the water and get your next color. And I will go with the red. I'm just going to tap it in there real lightly. I'll do her little cheeks while I'm there. And I have very little color on there to do the cheeks, so they look pinkish in nature. And I'll add more color to my brush so that we have the red. See, you can barely see it. Look at that. Isn't that nice? It's just lovely. It's lovely. But I will add some more water to my brush. And now I'm going to get some more, try to pick up some more color on my brush. And just start going on my shell. I guess you call it their shell, don't you? I'm not really sure. Their body. Body, shell. I don't know why I keep calling her shell. I don't know. I guess we know this is why I'm not the science teacher. If any of my science teachers want to let me know what it's officially called. Is it called their shell? Oh. Science teachers, feel free to comment and let me know. Is it just called their body? I don't know. Now I feel silly. There I'm painting the ladybug and I don't know what to call it. It's just their body, right? How silly. All I know is they're cute and I like them. And it's not an insect I'm scared of. And that's a good thing, right? Because I think a lot of girls are scared of bugs. And I try to make sure my daughter is not going to be scared of bugs. So the more bugs that she knows mommy actually does like, the less she will be scared of as well. Most bugs are not harmful to us, don't bother us, and actually pretty good for us. Now, I'm not a fan of mosquitoes, but I do understand their purpose. For some reason, mosquitoes are a big fan of me. The only bug I really don't like are cockroaches and spiders. So we probably will not be painting any kind of spider. Sorry if you're a fan of spiders or roaches. All right, we're done with our red. Look how fast this goes. And if you notice, we're kind of painting so that we're painting the darkest colors, or the lightest colors, and then kind of moving towards our darkest colors. So we're not going to finish the body yet. We're going to leave the black for last. And I do that with my students because, again, they have trouble cleaning brushes and working with it. Now, blue and green are similar as far as being dark. But, you know, if you guys are home and the parents are helping you, do it whatever order you'd like to. Let the kids have fun and explore. If it's their painting, have fun with it. But as I teach and as I get them to kind of learn proper painting techniques, that's kind of how I work with them. You know, we work with the lightest colors first and then go from there. So this is how I did the green. I'm going to get my green. And then I just kind of started with the sides, went up a little bit so I knew where my little horizon line was. And then just went down to the bottom. And if you've got a messy mat or something to protect your table, you can just go right to the edge. If you don't have something to protect the table, if you are worried about it, you can tell the kids to kind of stop at the right before the edge of the paper. Or you can skip the background. That's not a problem. You know, parents, it's your house. Have the kids follow your rules. If you're out and about, you can kind of pick up a good thing to have. Might be one of those tablecloths for a party and have it set aside just for art and spread it on your table whenever it is time to paint. You can find them for $1 at the dollar store. And just spread that out whenever it's time for the kids to work on a painting or something that's going to be a little bit more messy, to protect your table. And just kind of wipe it up and let it dry every time you're done doing your artwork. I did not put enough water on that time. See, I made my green rather light. You might have yours a little darker. I did it darker, I think, on my other painting. But, yeah. I have a song, Yellow Submarine, playing in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear it. But apparently, that seems to be a child's favorite Beatles song, Yellow Submarine. I'm not surprised. So any kids who have ever heard Beatles songs, Yellow Submarine seems to be their favorite. Is definitely one of my daughter's favorites. I think it's just because it's absolutely silly. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a yellow submarine? Yeah, we're just doing again the blue. And our, oh, what's the matter? My baby is whining down there. My dog is loving the fact that I'm home, but she also thinks that I am here just for her and to give her all the attention. And right now I'm giving you my attention and not her, and this is a problem. My dog is very needy. She is an 8-year-old red-nosed pit. Yes, you are. And she's a giant baby who does not realize that she's not a lap dog. She's about 60 pounds. And she thinks she's 6 pounds. And tries to sit on your lap. And does nothing but give you kisses. Got her a bandana that says her liquor is broken. L-I-C-K-E-R. Because it is. She's full of kisses for us. All right, now we're ready to do the black. Our family is not complete without that dog. So I'm just painting. Again, should be very light. Some people looking at it wondering why it's not black. That's because, again, we're using watercolors. If you want your black to be a little darker, you know, you could have done that with your crayon or your marker. So, but if you want to keep with the theme of the painting, your watercolor paint is very light, very opaque. So, And this is probably one of the longest tutorials I've done, only because I've sat and painted with you this whole time and done it. But, you know, we've sat, we've chatted. It's been good. Thanks for sticking with me the whole time. I appreciate it. You can paint the feet if you so desire. You do not have to. I left mine white. I wanted to just kind of give it a little bit of contrast. And there's our ladybug. This is the one we have done the whole time together and made it appear just like that. So I hope you guys like this one. Let me know in the comments what you think of some of the projects, if you want to see something different, or if you just want to let me know how it worked out for you. If you want to show me some of your artwork, you can post it and follow me at Mrs. Mims1. That is my Twitter handle, and that's where you can find me. And until the next time, I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day, guys.